Today we are going on an adventure with the 2024 Hyundai Tucson Limited with all-wheel drive. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. The compact crossover market is one of the most competitive segments in North America, and Hyundai has done quite well in this space. The Tucson is currently number 3 overall, just behind the Toyota RAV4 and the Honda CR-V. Today we're taking a look at the 2024 Tucson Limited with all-wheel drive. This is a top-level trim that comes with all the bells and whistles. It includes a digital gauge cluster, parking sensors with a surround camera, 19-inch alloy wheels, leather seats that are both heated and cooled, paddle shifters, adaptive cruise control with lane centering, Bose sound system, and a panorama sunroof, just to name a few. Price on the Tucson Limited all-wheel drive, as you see it here, $40,005 US, including destination. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, providing up to 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. This is connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and ours is equipped with the optional HTRAC All-Wheel Drive. EPA rates economy at 23 miles to the gallon in the city and 29 on the highway. If you're looking for better MPGs, you can get the Tucson as both a hybrid or as a plug-in electric hybrid. But today, we're just looking at the normal one. In the back, the Tucson has 38.7 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Fold all the seats down for up to 74.8 cubic feet overall. Can you sleep in it? Well, the biggest issue that I see here is the weak floor insert. It will absolutely break if you put all your weight on it. But the seats do fold completely flat, so it is doable with some modifications. If you get a dealer to install a hitch, you're looking at a maximum towing capacity of 2,000 pounds. With all those details out of the way, it's time to see what this 2024 Hyundai Tucson can do. Our route is going to take us along the Hood Canal and deep into the Olympic Mountains, where we'll put this HTRAC all-wheel drive system to the test. This vehicle does really deliver on features. I mean, you kind of have everything that you would want in a compact crossover. Leather seats, check. Digital display, check. Heated and cooled seats, check, check. And you even have a nice touchscreen display with navigation built in. That's right, they don't rely on you to plug in a phone, they actually include navigation, which I kind of like to see, especially at this $40,000 price point, because wow, that's a lot of money for a compact crossover. And this does have Hyundai's HTRAC all-wheel drive system, which, like so many other vehicles in this class, it is a brake vectoring based system. That is, open differentials front and back, and if a wheel spins, it'll use brakes, or it's supposed to use brakes to help stop that wheel from spinning, which then means that the power goes to other wheels in the system. It's the same kind of setup that you would find on, say, like a Jeep Compass or a Subaru Outback or any of those type of vehicles. Some, as we have seen over time with all of our testing, are better at it than others. Hyundai, historically, they're really conservative with that whole brake vectoring thing. In fact, it's practically non-existent, but they say it is there, and the vehicle can actually move through some stuff historically. But I kind of want to know, for 2024, have they made it any better? So today we have a little bit of a journey that I think is right in tune with what a Hyundai Tucson owner would do. We're going to drive into the mountains, we're going to find a nice logging road, and then we're going to play around on the top of a mountain to see, can we get there from here? Can the HTRAC get us where we want to go? This is not going to be a complicated, like, rock crawling situation. No, because of course, 19-inch wheels, yeah, we're not rock crawling over anything with those. I have been driving this vehicle for about an hour. The seating position, very comfortable. I have lots of adjustments here, and they are power adjustments, which I like. I even get a power lumbar, which is kind of sweet. And it even has a heated steering wheel, which is nice. Up above, we do, of course, have this massive panorama sunroof. It just lets in a ton of light. Now, as far as the interior design here, it is designed. Yes, it has a lot of design going on. There's a lot of elements, and I think it actually looks really nice. I really appreciate how they've integrated this widescreen high-resolution display into the center console. It looks good. and it's nicely integrated, and when it's off, it almost disappears. Like right now I have time and I have a little navigation kind of thing showing in the corner there, but it just blends into everything else. Now we do have different drive modes here. We have normal, sport, smart, and snow. Normal is going to be the balance of all things. Sport is going to have a more aggressive throttle, but that's basically it. It'll tighten up the steering a little bit too, but it's not going to make any like fundamental changes to this vehicle, because this vehicle just doesn't have anything it can fundamentally change. It doesn't have a hybrid that it can remap. It doesn't have adaptive suspension. It doesn't have anything really fancy, but that's okay. More aggressive throttle and a tighter steering rack are always appreciated. Smart will kind of balance those. And then we have snow, which will make the most aggressive brake vectoring and also cut power at start. So it basically makes for a very sluggish throttle. And then there's also a hill descent control. We're going to try to give that a workout a little bit later as well. You know, this is a 2.5 liter engine. It's very common for this class. Only recently have vehicles been getting upgraded to turbos in this class. So, you know, a lot of the competition is still sticking with the naturally aspirated motors. And like other vehicles, if you want a faster version of this car, you can move up to one of the hybrid or the plug-in electrics. Those ones have way more horsepower. I think it's like 226 if you get the PHEV. Suspension on this, yeah, it's fine. It's your typical Hyundai setup in that it's a little bit tight. But it's a little bit soft in the spring. So what do I mean by that? Well, the dampers are a little rough and the suspension is a little soft. So you kind of have this kind of loosey-goosey yet kind of stiff ride. I think it's fine for most people on most, you know, situations. Like on this road, it's totally fine. I wouldn't really want to push this suspension setup into the corners very briskly. I kind of feel like it'll have too much roll, but also be very stiff. If I hit anything, it's going to really disrupt the vehicle. And then on top of that, when we hit the forest roads in a little bit, I'm kind of concerned that it's going to be a little jarring. So we'll see how that goes. Now, of course, this does have 19-inch wheels, so you don't get a lot of air in your suspension. I do prefer to actually have smaller wheels, though admittedly, the 19s on here do look pretty good. They are wrapped in all-season tires, which is kind of why we're also not going to do anything too difficult off-road today. But trust me, this thing will get challenged. Regarding safety, this does come fully loaded. We have adaptive cruise control with lane centering, collision mitigation, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alerts, and it even, of course, has that surround view camera, which is very nice. That is kind of what you're paying for at this trim level. I mean, that's kind of the justification for 40 grand. The only thing that really causes me to have pause at this price point is the fact that it comes with a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter, which isn't very exciting. So far, I am averaging around 29 miles to the gallon, which is good because that's actually the EPA rating. Now, keep in mind, I have been mostly at sea level here. I have not really gone up any significant hills. I'm sure it will decrease as we head into the mountains. To get to the off-road, first you got to go through the paved roads. So we're on those right now. This gives a good opportunity to really kind of feel how this car drives. Now, I'm in snow mode, which is a bad mode here. Let's switch it to sport. Gauge cluster changes. Add throttle, and yeah, going up this hill, there's not a lot of torque there. I mean, it is a little 2.5 liter four-cylinder. There's no turbo. There is no hybrid assist. But I think it does an okay job. You know, if you're just looking for something to get you around town, this will be fine. You can get on the freeway, you can pass vehicles, no problem. Well, that's a little whiny. This does have an 8-speed automatic transmission, I should probably point out. You know, this is fine. It switches gears quick enough. It's not very exciting, but it's fine. We do get the paddle shifters at this trim level. They are standard with the Limited. And yeah, you can override the gear. It's not too bad. Now that we've checked out the road manners of this little Tucson, let's hit the trail and head into the mountains. Woohoo! Now, obviously, the Tucson here makes no pretense about being a rally car. However, pretty much any CUV with all-wheel drive, I'd say, is a valid contender to be one. Because you have the ground clearance, you have the all-wheel drive. But do you have balance? Do you have the ability to put power down? Those are the things that I'm really curious about with this vehicle. And I do have to be careful because, obviously, forest roads can be treacherous for wheels and tires. And this is rolling on 19 inches. But we do have a good amount of sidewall, which I am happy to see on this. But I do have to be careful for rocks, for stumps, and of course I also have to look out for traffic because there are other cars on the road. Yeah, the 55 series sidewalls are actually doing a pretty good job so far. Now, if we do get a flat, there is only a partial spare in the back, which is never ideal. It's getting a little tight here. Hopefully we can make it all the way to the top of the mountain, because if we can, there's a surprise up there. And I'm trying to like get that back loose, but it really doesn't want to do it. It's like, nope, nope. And that's just a matter of fact with a lot of the modern traction control systems. You can never really turn them all the way off. You're basically just turning off a first level protection of slidiness. And so I can get a little bit of scooch there, but not a lot. Yeah, so far doing pretty good. Now this little 2.5 liter, it does okay. I have no real complaints about it because obviously in these conditions you don't need a massive amount of power unless you're going to do a full sideways drift and you want power out of it. Clearly that is not a Tucson buyer at all. So to do, to give significant more horsepower just really isn't necessary. Plus, because this has a naturally aspirated motor, that means we get Hyundai's standard 8-speed automatic transmission. We don't have a dual clutch, which I like because those dual clutches in conditions like these do have a tendency to somewhat overheat. Okay, not gravel roads, but like when we get into the more tricky four-wheel drive-y stuff, that is where the twin clutch really kind of has some challenges. But we're not going to have that problem today, I expect, because standard transmission. So I could use the paddle shifters here, of course, but I'm finding that the gear selection that the automatic is picking is just fine. No concerns here. We're going to start climbing. Obviously, this is killing our MPGs. We've already dropped from 30 down to 20, and it's only going to get worse. Oh, under a tree. Okay, we got this. Got some more of those cross cuts here. Got to watch out for. I don't think we're going to lift a wheel on these, but don't want to hit them too hard. Suspension's actually doing a pretty good job of soaking up the rough stuff, which I like. I'm actually kind of surprised with this car. I did not expect to like it this much in these conditions. Now, can HTRAC get us over the tricky stuff that's coming up? We have yet to see. The seats here are actually pretty comfortable, and the suspension, like I said, is doing a great job of soaking up this stuff. What I found a little bit too weird for the road actually is really good for forest roads. Did not expect that. Oh, we're right below snow level. Awesome. Okay, and we're almost at the top of this particular climb, and I got a little surprise up here. Here is a nice little loop that I'm going to use to test the hill descent control system, because that is standard at this trim level. Going up, obviously, it's not too bad, and this really isn't that risky of a drive. I just want to see how the system works. Okay, so we'll go up. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Loop around. Cliff. Are we in reverse? Yes. Otherwise it would fall right off that cliff. Yee, that is a far drop. Right, so let's try out this hill descent control system. This hill isn't really that challenging, but it'll at least give me the option to see how the system works. Downhill brake control is what they call it, and it uses an approach algorithm. Basically, whatever speed I approach the hill at is what it'll hold the descent at. So I'm going to come down the hill here a little bit. I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to just let off the gas and let off the brake. It rolls about 3-4 feet before it grabs, and then it eases me down. So some manufacturers have been improving that technology so it grabs quicker. Other vehicles, like in the 4Runner or whatnot, with this crawl control, it can control a lot more of that stuff so you don't get any of that free roll. And actually, I really don't like that free roll. And I think that in a way it kind of makes hill descent control moot, because if you free roll and then you grab the brakes, you're basically inducing a possible slide. So if you do use hill descent control on a Hyundai, you want to make sure that you're already in the hill descent control grabby zone before you get to the slippery stuff. And then it'll ease you down using four-wheel braking as necessary to keep you tracking straight. Okay, now let's see if we can get to our finale with this Tucson. Is it here? Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, we got a little off-road park up here. How cool is this? Let me show you. So this is going to be a challenge. What we need to do is get from here to there. Along the way, we're going to have to cross ditches and logs. Can the Tucson do it? I think we can do this. Now, I might need to not do the hard line on some of these obstacles, but with other obstacles, I have no choice. In terms of setup here, I'm not going to do much. I'm actually going to start in normal mode, and then we'll play with the other drive modes if we have to. I'm also going to keep traction control on, and away we go. These first couple features, I think it's going to be more a matter of geometry than it is necessarily power, because they're kind of a little bit downhill. So long as we don't scrape, we can just kind of roll over them, which is kind of nice. Okay, that was easy. Good start. Now I'm going to try to avoid the ditches, because honestly I just don't think we have enough breakover to get over them. So I'm going to go up high, which means we're going to be tilting a lot. Can I turn on my front camera? There we go, surround view camera. Let's go up and over. Watch that breakover. We are going to be leaning a lot, and yeah, these are street tires, so our lateral grip is going to be minimal. Okay, down we go, easy. Easy. Up and over. Now I don't think I'm going to be able to skirt these for long. I think I'm going to, yeah, up here I'm going to actually have to go over a ditch. Okay, can't avoid this one. Hope our breakover is good and our approach. Ooh, we're tapping. Let's see how bad it is. Oh yeah, we're definitely hitting, so I'm gonna have to go more that way. In reverse, take the nose off the dirt. There we go. Let's try to go a little bit more right. Okay, we got this. Gonna tilt the other way. Yep, one wheel up, but we're kind of going downhill, so we get a gravity assist. Okay. Ooh, this next one's gonna be tough. We have to go over logs. And there's no way around this if we can't get over the logs. Checking out this obstacle, breakover is going to be an issue here, but I kind of have to put my wheels here. I'm kind of limited based on where the logs are, and I also have to make sure that when I come up and over that my breakover is okay, but then also that I don't hit my nose. Honestly, I don't know if this can do this. The geometry just may not be in our favor. Let's try it though. Let's see, now I'm gonna get out and check the breakover before I get too far here. We're definitely getting up and over. I don't wanna get high centered because there's no way for me to get out of here if I do. Of course, the rain is starting. Okay, we're now teetering. Check our breakover. Oh, doing pretty good. This is where I need that HTRAC to really kick power around. I'm gonna drag. Just a little drag. Just a little drag. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, I think I'm hung up. Let me check. So we're good there. We're on the logs, that's good. Yeah, we are high centering on the passenger side. So I need to actually move this whole thing this direction. So that's the thing about going slow and steady. You have less of a permanent stick. Oh boy. Ooh, come on. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you do it? Come on, HTRAC, pull me to back. Yes. Man, this is tough. Okay, now this is my second attempt. I'm going to go a little bit more left. Although at this point I'm now squaring up with the berm, which means that my breakover is going to be more challenging. Just going to listen for scraping. We're fully on the ground now. Due to the way that this vehicle is designed, there is just physically no way to get over this obstacle. The breakover is just too challenging and the approach angles just aren't good enough. However, that said, I think it was actually a pretty nice drive out here. The forest roads, it just ate them up. It was just fine. The 2.5 liter engine had enough pep for these kind of conditions. If you're on the highway freeway, you might want a little bit more juice, but the Tucson's a pretty good little vehicle. Now granted, you are paying money if you want to have loaded with features, but these do start at just under 30 grand and you get a pretty decent vehicle for that amount of money. I think with all-wheel drive, you're going to be spending about 31, 32. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our videos. Make them for you, and I hope you enjoy them.